Alright, so I'm back after a month of break from Battlefront 2, and I've got to say, I'm super surprised about how well some of these videos are doing, with how many of you guys are liking, commenting, and above all, subscribing. It's definitely a cool feeling, and I can't thank you guys enough. I've noticed all of your requests, but I'm seeming to be getting quite a few for Kylo, so I think that's where this series is headed next. But if you have a different preference, be sure to let me know. So, Iden Versio, what isn't to love, or hate if you're on the receiving end of her diarrhea storm of a toolkit? As you know, she possesses a wide variety of abilities that reinforce both the aggressive playstyle and the supportive playstyle. Either lead on the front lines or hang back with your teammates and rain secondary asshole fire on your pitiful enemies. In almost any situation, she passes with flying colors, and to many players who've developed a good sense of her playstyle, it can be easy to rack up a fair chunk of XP, whether it be from galactic assaults, heroes versus villains, or supremacy. But there exists one mode that skyrockets Iden's XP like it's a goddamn cheat. And that mode is, I'll give you guys a second to guess, Blast. No, it's not. It's co-op. And now you're saying, no shit, it's co-op. They're just mindless bots. But to that I say no, because it's easy to walk away with 20k XP per match, 30k if you're lucky, but there are always ways to level up Iden multiple times in one game. And if you're so inclined to grind, leave you with a max level Iden in just 2 days. For starters, your Iden should be at least level 25 to begin this guide, and should have purple for 3 specific cards, those being Shocking Weaknesses, Alternative Methods, and Cooled Blaster. Once you've got this loadout up and running, it's time to hop into a game. Once you're in the menus, head to the co-op category and keep launching Galactic Empire until you get 2 results, those being either Kessel or Tatooine. And don't worry about getting Mos Eisley, that one works for this guide as well. The map rotation that will be most beneficial to us here is Kessel, Mos Eisley, and Jabbas Palace. No other maps will do. However, if you're having trouble getting into these games, the Death Star 2 and Scarif come right before Kessel, so if you're willing to grind those out, more power to you. We'll be focusing on maximizing Kessel XP first, Mos Eisley second, and Jabbas Palace third. So if you prefer one map over the other, you can skip to these points in the video. And with that being said, if you have Iden Versio on the first defensive phase of Kessel, make your way to Objective B and keep an eye out for enemies spawning on your radar. They will be coming out of 3 entrances, one at the far right end, one near the middle of the map, and one at the top of this cliff. You can get a good angle on the first objective if you aim here and launch secondary fire. Looking to the leftmost spawn, aim barely at the top of the cliff to catch any on the ground. Once these are taken care of, you can then focus on any who have spawned from the middle. It's important to get these objective kills because for each kill you get 50 battle points, which is basically a half a kill bonus for each kill, which makes this process far more efficient than if you were to be shredding on the front lines. If you're able to hold this phase and win the match, you'll be walking away with around 30,000 to 40,000 XP. However, if you're lucky to jump into Kessel while on the last defensive phase, get ready for a slaughter. Depending on how much time you have left, you can cash in a ridiculous amount of XP. If you have Iden, sit back in this hallway and spray secondary fire, aiming for the middle of the entrance. Once these guys are cleared, you can retreat back to cover. Most are likely to spawn at the left point, so this shouldn't prove too difficult. On Kessel, it's that simple. Repeat this process until the match concludes, and wait for that XP screen to show up. For the first phase of Mos Eisley, it can be easy for Iden to get caught in the line of fire and die to close quarters rebels who are likely to swarm from all directions. So it's imperative for both your survival and for your XP efficiency to take these stairs located at the middle of spawn, and then make your way along the rooftops until you reach this circular slit. From here, you'll be able to contest the objective without opposition, and you'll have a pretty incredible angle on not only the rebels located inside, but also any spawning from her left, right, and any still clinging to the objective. With the exception of the occasional jet trooper, no rebels can come up here to kill you, which is pretty useful if you like staying alive. Also, while contesting this point, you get bonus objective kill XP, which is a huge plus. As you capture the first objective, make your way through the market. There will be enemies at the end, so once you've taken care of them, cut right. There's going to be quite a bit of guys here, so if it proves difficult, take the Cantina stairs and you'll get a great angle on the objective. Once the coast is clear, run through this area and plant yourself at the top of the stairs here. Keep an eye on your radar. Once an area glows bright red, that means a whole wave of enemies have just spawned in. And on this objective, they can invade from 3 different areas. From this middle arc, the area closest to you, and from the entrance to your far right, leading into Objective B. If any get past your defense from the leftmost spawn, they will 90% of the time stick to the edges of A. So if you have the option to look away from the 2 entrances, aim for this roof and fire your secondary fire. If you're overrun by the enemies on Objective B, take a few steps back and use secondary fire on the adjacent wall. The splash damage will take care of anyone here and give you a chance to keep contesting. On to the next phase. Cut to the next Objective B and go through this doorway. However, if you want to play it safer, take a right and enter through the doorway once you clear the area. Otherwise, this area has a 100% chance to have at least one hero guarding it. So you're going to need to play this one safe most of the time. Whoever it is, try and hang back and utilize your shock droid to the best of your advantage. It becomes a bit difficult to spot every rebel in this area, so your shock droid reveal card will come in pretty handy for both you and your teammates here. After you've gotten a foothold, plant yourself in the bazaar and wait for enemies to come through this doorway. Bottle cap it with your secondary fire and try and aim for the stairs leading in. Try to also shock somebody from time to time so you can see any who have made it past the outside defenses. But in general, make sure this entrance is locked down because that's where most of them will be coming in through. Once you're done here, it's time for the last objective, which happens to be the most difficult, so you'll need to be extra careful. Begin the push at the entrance facing the back of this starfighter. It's important to not rush in right away, as there's enemies literally everywhere and it's easy for multiple guys to get angles on you. You'll want to play a support role for the start of this push, putting secondary fire wherever you can and try to get the Saber heroes on your team to fall into the battle. Focus all of your efforts on the Wookiees, Jet Troopers, and Heroes, specifically in that order, as they can be pretty problematic when trying to cap this objective. If you do happen to clear the area, position yourself at the top of the starfighter and cover these 3 entrances. They can also spawn behind you, but luckily it's kinda rare. This will be semi-difficult if your team doesn't know what they're doing, but for the most part, if you follow these directions, it should be a breeze. By the end of the match, you should have around 50 to 80,000 XP. If you fall a little under that, there's no problem. You'll have plenty of time to get this routine down. And for the last map, Jabbas Palace. While the enemy spawning on this map has been altered, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. It's still super easy to get a ton of XP. First things first, on Objective 1, at the start of the match, you're going to want to stay on the Objective A for the bonus XP. From here, you'll have an angle for various situations, as there are 4 different ways enemy AI can enter the area, mainly through the sliding door in the middle, 6 to 8 coming from the left, and a small number coming out of the 2 entrances to the right of you. All can be managed with ease, but there is an order that has proved pretty efficient, that order being middle, left, then right. If you fail to hold the enemy at this objective, that's fine. Fall back to this tiny hallway and cover the spawn from here. Unfortunately, your secondary fire passes through the metal in this floor, so either aim for the hologram projector or at the sides of the room for the splash damage. Pay attention to your radar as well, because they can come from the hallways located to the left and right of you. This should be pretty easy. However, if you feel like being evil, you can deliberately suck in these beginning phases to go to phase 4 as quick as possible. This is undoubtedly the best seat in the house for Iden, and I won't spoil it for you. Indulge in the carnage on your own terms. If you close the match on the first objective, you'll have an average of 30,000 to 40,000 XP. Now, why does this matter? Let's say that you begin this guide at level 25. You have 975 levels to go. That's a total of 24,375,000 XP. And on average, we're getting 40,000 XP per match. Sounds totally not doable, right? Well, each 40k XP match we're doing here takes about 4 minutes. So in total, you need to play 609 games of co-op to max Iden out. That's assuming you're not on double or triple XP, which seems like a lot of games, and it is. However, 609 4-minute games comes out to be a total of 40 hours with Iden, which, if you're willing to destroy your body and soul, can be done pretty quick. And that's how you max out Iden Versio. If you made it to the end of the video, I may be deeply in love with you. And with that being said, I hope this helps you guys out, and I hope to see some max Idens out there. Just kidding, that sounds like cancer. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day. Also, subscribe and smash like.